Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live Repurpose Live, where we help you to rethink your priorities to create a life that you truly love. My name is Lissa Figgins, and it's my mission to help after 40 women like you to rethink your priorities in 7 key areas to find more balance, growth, and impact. And my intention each and every week is to introduce you to an amazing woman who is also living out this journey and inspiring others to do the same. So today I am super excited to share with you guys my friend Delynn Miller. Now, I said that I knew my beliefs mattered before I met Delynn, but she has really taught me what that means. And so I'm excited for you guys to hear from her today. So Delynn is a proud network marketing professional and a mindset coach, and she is committed to showing women how to get everything you desire in your life or your business by working with the universal laws while feeling amazing in your body. So get ready for your beliefs to be shifted. And Delynn, thank you so much for being here with us today. Tell us a little bit about you and, just kind of how you got to where you are today, serving others with mindset.
I love it. Well, thank you, Lissa, so much for having me. I absolutely adore you and just love your energy. So this conversation is just going to be just the easiest thing I do all day. So how did I get started? So I guess for me, I started off in just like everybody else does, right? Just like this, go-getter. I've always been a go-getter, like my entire life. Even as a teenager, if someone would have had to describe me, it was Delynn is a go-getter. And I was getting all the things, right? I always just was a busy little bee, and I did all the things in all the right order that I was supposed to do them in, right? That I was taught to do them in. And I found myself working in corporate healthcare. I had just graduated university, and I was being told, like, oh my gosh, you totally scored. You've got a job working for the government at a hospital. You've got like pension and benefits. You've got it all. And I thought, oh, I guess I do, right? And I took that, whatever anybody ever said to me, and I adopted it. But I remember feeling at the ripe age of 22, like, oh, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. All right, this is what I do. Awesome, right? But
right, and I should be happy about it, right? Because everyone tells me I should be happy about this.
That's right. Because I'm just stoked I get to pay off my student loans right now is really what I was thinking, right? But I'm going, okay, I guess it's not the student loans. It's the fact that I have all these other things that's what I'm supposed to be stoked about. So go me, awesome. Okay, so I'm adopting these things into myself, okay, as I'm going through. And then, I mean, fast forward later, I had been working in corporate healthcare, managing in corporate healthcare for, I guess, 10 years at this point. And I become pregnant with my very first daughter. And it was like this shift happened within me, right? And as it does for a lot of women during this time, it was just this whole, and it was all these other beliefs started to come in, right? Oh, you're pregnant. It's not about you anymore. It's about, and all these other things. And I'm going, okay, I guess like it's been all about me for the last 28 years, but I guess now it's about them. Okay, I'm going to adopt this. And then you take it on. And then network marketing fell into my lap. I had a big blocks against network marketing, was never going to be a network marketer. And then it just happened. I think if you're a network marketer, you can attest to the fact that you're just like, oh, I mean, you were a teacher, right? And then it was just like, oh, okay, now I guess I'm a network marketer, like, because I can't shut up about this stuff and it's great. And so I adopted on all of these other beliefs about network marketing. And it's just been this progressive journey when finally, about 5 years ago, I realized I wasn't living my life on my terms. I was living them on the terms that had been created and told to me by everybody else, by society, by
one word over and over again, which I want to just break in here, that word adopted. So is this how you were feeling and why you got to this place? You just kept taking on what other people's beliefs were, what the culture's beliefs were, what you thought the expectations were.
And I wanted to make everybody happy. right? I'm a recovering people pleaser. And I was just like, oh, well, me doing that'll make you happy. I'm on it.
Right.
I'm on, oh, you gave me an A+ in that. I'll do that again. Right. And what I realized was even throughout all my schooling, my answer was to always just go back to school for it. Right. So then I found myself this person with all these letters at the end of their name. And I'm like, I'm not actually like doing anything with it.
Right.
Why is that? Right. So I'm like living my life for other people. I have everything to be grateful for, and I'm actually not happy at all. And I just feel like I'm meant for more. And why is this happening? Right. So so I started just asking different questions. I started, instead of listening to everybody else, I had to like peel myself back and say, yes, I am a go-getter. Yes, I am a, rock star business woman and a awesome mom and a great wife. And I'm all those things, but I'm also, I need to do all of those things on my terms, or else I'm going to feel this misalignment. Right. And this struggle. Right. And even though I did it with a big smile on my face, right. I put my makeup on, put this big smile on my face. It didn't mean that I was feeling that way. Right. So I really started looking into this. And about 5 years ago, I hired my first coach because I thought, you know what? I need to start getting myself in an environment, surrounding myself with people that actually know what the heck they're talking about. Like if I'm going to be adopting everybody else's stuff, I want to be adopting the stuff of where I'm going, not
Exactly. Not all the people who aren't where you are or where you want to be, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I hired my first coach, which was like the hardest, I felt like the hardest thing, the easiest thing at the same time, right? Like the decision of investing in yourself when you've never done that before can be so antagonizing. But at the same time, I was like, it's just that also that feeling of this is what I need in order to get me to where I want to go, right? Because at that point, I resigned in corporate healthcare. I literally had said, you know what? This is not my kind of healthcare. I want to show up for people in a different way. And that's the health space.
Right.
And this isn't how I want to spend my time. And these are the people I want to spend my time with. Right. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of great friendships that I've made. And even now it's been 6 years, right? 6 years later, the people that you're going to hang out with, you're going to hang out with. Right. But all the fears that I had over it, it was like, I had to burn the boat. I had to just burn the boat and just move through it in order to start becoming the person that owned her own life. And I knew that getting myself out of that environment, looking back in hindsight, I don't think I can guarantee I didn't say it that way, but that's exactly what I was doing. Right. So like 15 years working in corporate healthcare, super cushy job, expert ladder climber. And I come home and I say to my husband, okay, honey, like I'm not meant to do this. I'm not meant to show up in this way anymore. And at that point, I'd been like growing my business. I wasn't nearly at the point where I really should have resigned from my 6-figure cushy job. But I knew, I just had this faith in myself. And it was just this, I know if I do it, it's going to be awesome. And I haven't looked back.
Yeah. So why do you think, well, let me kind of step back. I feel like a lot of people feel like they're stuck in where they're at. It's because it's what they went to school for. It's because it's what is giving them a paycheck and benefits. That's a big one I hear right now is, but I've got benefits. I couldn't do something else because of the benefits. They feel it's an expectation maybe of their family, whether it's their spouse or their parents or extended family. They feel like, they just don't know, maybe it's too late, or maybe it's just, I don't even know what else I would do. Right. So why is it that so many people stay stuck in that place versus, putting in the resignation, burning the boat, and then being like, all right, I'm just going to do this. And I know it's going to be amazing.
Habit. It's habit. And how our habits are formed is through our experiences, right? Yeah. So when we're born, these perfect, brand new little humans. And we have our like genetic programming, right? From that magical time when the sperm meets the egg, there's your first formation, but then you're born. And your subconscious mind at this point is wide open. And as adults, we look at kids and we go, oh my gosh, they're just such a little sponge, little sponge. And it's like, yeah, their subconscious mind is wide open and they're watching and listening and doing all the things because they don't know what the heck they're doing, right? They're little geniuses, but that have little experience in this life, right? So they are just taking everything in. And then by the age of like 7 or 8, your thinking is formed, your paradigm is what it's called. Okay. So your paradigm is formed. And then you're just living your life, right? Based on what you experienced. And because there's these universal laws, right? Where the law of attraction, right? And you just start attracting in whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're believing, right? So if you, for me, my mom was a teacher, my dad worked in a factory, and it was very deeply ingrained in my subconscious mind that the only way to earn money was to trade your time for it, right? Like if my dad wanted to earn more money, he had to work overtime. Right. And I remember him working overtime. And then it was like, oh, that's what. And then hearing my parents talk about, well, oh, this is how we're going to pay for our vacation, or this is how we're going to pay for the extra whatever my sisters and I wanted to do. And it was like, oh, okay. Well, and I adopted it. And it was in my belief system. Right. So for me, then and working since I was 12 years old, right? Whether I was delivering newspapers or babysitting, like I attracted in all of these opportunities where I could too trade my time for money, right? So then like I get into healthcare and they're like, you know what? We're going to give you a salary. And I think, what? This is like next level. Like I don't even have to, like one day I could work 8 hours. The next day I could work, I don't know, 4 hours. The next day I could work 12 hours, but you're just going to like, this is a blanket amount. And they're like, yeah, we're going to give you that. And if you get sick, we're going to pay for it. And we're going to like take this money and we're going to like match it dollar for dollar. And I thought, what? Like free money? What? This is amazing. Okay. But the thing is there's no such thing as getting something for nothing ever. That's not the way it works. Okay. And so coming into it, it's like, okay, well, I adopted all of these beliefs. That's got to be the only way, right? But then what I learned, and I think this is why I love network marketing so much, is it's not a trade time for money sort of thing. Like initially, you're just getting started and you're literally, I remember getting my first check and I had taught like a handful of classes and my first check was like $14. But I remember like taking a picture of me with it, like sending it to my upline, who was also my bestie. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And she goes, dude, it's $14. And I was like, yeah, but I just got to talk about something that I love. And they just paid me $14 for it. Like, how cool is that? But then it snowballs, right? And before I knew it, it was like, oh, I'm getting my product for free. Oh, now it just paid for a vacation. And then it was like, I'm going to resign from corporate life because it's not serving me anymore. And I think that was my first introduction. And I needed that introduction to learn that there's more than, this is such an awful saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's awful. That's an awful saying, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? There's more than one way to do things. And it made me go, oh, my belief system wasn't accurate. That's interesting. And I started to play around with this. And it was like, what I learned very quickly was you get what you believe. Anybody that I've exposed to, so this is even before I decided to coach on these philosophies. I see people would come and go from network marketing and they would be like, oh, you make it look so easy. And that's why you got to the top of your company. And it's because you're outgoing. It's because you're not afraid to do this. And I say to them, like, do you think I wasn't scared the very first time I did a Facebook Live? Like, I didn't always talk like this over a computer. I was very scared, right? But it's just like I had to start adopting a different belief of my worthiness, of my impact, right? And so when you go through anything, like You first have to, like, one key thing I want everybody to know is you can't give what you don't have in you to give. You cannot. So in order for me to understand that I could go out and start serving people in their health and in their mindset, and that I was deserving of that, I had to first believe that I was deserving.
Exactly.
And I had some mega affirmations around that. Okay. Affirmations are going to be a key piece to this. When I'm, washing my hands over the bathroom sink, and there, I just assume everybody has a bathroom mirror over their sink.
Right.
I'm looking at it and I'm like talking to myself, and I'm telling myself, like, you're smart, you're brave, you're worthy. I love you. Right? But most people say, I got these big dreams. These are awesome. And yet they can't even look at themselves in the mirror and say, I love you, like, to the deepest of the core. Right? Or they're looking, maybe it's not a business. Maybe it's a relationship. I'll talk to people and they're like, I just want to attract in, not like I'm attracting in the same type of guy over and over and over. They're just in a different package.
Exactly.
Right? They're either workaholics or alcoholics or whatever aholics, or like, but they're the same guy with the same that I gotta fix. They're just in a different package. Like, I just don't want that anymore. And it's like, okay, if you want to attract in love, let's talk about self-love first. Because you can't give what you do not have in you to give. Right? You want to become a leader. Can you lead your own life? You start leading your own life, you're going to rock it over here. Right? So this is where it's like adopting those beliefs of worthiness, right? And recognizing, and it's not about blame. This is a big thing too. Like, it'd be easy to go, oh gosh, like my paradigm was formed in my first 8 years. Like, how dare you, mom and dad and grandma and teacher and whoever else had an impact on you in those first years, right? But recognize, like, everybody's doing the best they can with their current level of awareness.
Exactly.
Right? Like, even I think of myself as a parent, right? My girls are 7 and 9 right now, right? Paradigms freshly formed, but they're formed. They're there, right? And it's up to me now to just reinforce them. And there's certain things that come out, we've all seen it in our kids. There's certain things they'll do that I'm like, ooh, that's something about me, that, or your dad, or your whatever, that I'm like, I don't think we really wanted you to adopt that, but you did. So let's do this, right? And you get to reinforce the things over and over and over again that you want to keep, but you got to get rid of the stuff that's not serving you.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's a person or a job or whatever.
Instead of blame, could we use the word responsibility? Because I think blame is where we're putting it off on someone else and saying it was this because of this person or because of this circumstance, right? Maybe it not have been a direct action that we saw a person, take, but maybe it was the socioeconomic place that we grew up in, or the location that we grew up in, or the kind of school that we grew up in, or, all these circumstances around us, and almost kind of absolve ourselves of any responsibility in that process. Or maybe even not, because we can't always change the things, right? We can't change those things that happened in the past, but how do we then take responsibility now to get rid of those things that don't serve us from back then?
Well, first you have to forgive yourself. That's step one. You forgive yourself. You say, you know what? This happened in the past. This circumstance happened. I said this, I did this, whatever. Right. Own it and forgive yourself. You are doing the best you can with your current level of awareness. But even just after hearing this, your awareness has grown in the last 15 minutes that we've been talking together. Your awareness has grown. So now you know that if you're having a problem, looking outside of you is not where you're going to find the solution. You need to go back to that bathroom mirror and have a look in it.
Yes.
Because you are the beginning and the solution for whatever you're facing right now. And I love to...
For that perfect environment, it's never going to, right? Where everything really lines up and all the people line up and the circumstances line up. You'll be waiting forever.
they will when you use some of the tools, right? Like manifesting is real. Like manifesting things into existence is real. And you can get really good at it, right? But then there's other things. We just get so caught up in the past, right? Or in grief, or in just circumstances outside of us, right? I always like to think of Oprah is a really good example of this, right? She was a, poor Black woman in a time when poor Black people and women were not like thought highly of, right? And she just had obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, right? And she had to say this and you'll hear Oprah say it now. She gets it. She gets this. This happened for me. I needed this in order to grow into this person, because this was going to happen and this was going to happen. And now she's Oprah, right? We all have those things that have happened for us in our past.
Right.
They all happen for us. And even you don't see it when you're in it, but if you can adopt the belief that you are excellent at responding versus reacting, your life will be changed. We start putting out fires all over the place, and then we wonder why we're never getting ahead, right? We're constantly just react to this, and it's exhausting. And it's like we'll get ahead and then we'll take 2 steps back. Go ahead, take 2 steps back. Start responding and taking responsibility for what you're responding to, and keep focusing on where you're going, not where you've been. The past has happened.
Otherwise, you're in defensive mode all the time, right? And defensive mode is just trying to stop something versus trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because this is just a reminder that 2 people could be in the very exact same situation. And most of us, we don't have, there's nobody else that has exactly everything the same that's happened to them, but yet there can be similar circumstances and things that happen to us. And we can, let me just say that some people can like rise from that, right? And become these amazing people that have moved beyond that. And some people like stay underneath that for the rest of their life.
Yep. And this is where starting to recognize that everything you need in order to get where you want to go, you have it already. It doesn't matter what your current circumstance is, what your socioeconomic status is, what color your skin is, where you live, whether the world shut down or not shut down, it doesn't matter. You get to create your own circumstances. You get to create your own economy. You get to do everything on your terms. Like you have so much power in you. It's just not in, we got to stop giving it away to everybody and everything else.
So
that's
true.
Not why you have it.
I'm watching my daughter right now, who's a senior in high school, and just every day she's like, oh, do I have to go to school again? Right. And trying to help her to change that mindset of, just because you have to go to that building for X number of hours a day does not mean that has to contain you, right, in your mind, and that she can still be there and still be thinking beyond those 4 walls that she feels like she's stuck in. And it's hard because all she sees are the 4 walls, and all she sees is that bell that rings and tells her to go to the next class. And it's like you said, it's just that habit, right? It's just that I'm just doing the thing and this is what I'm supposed to do. And yet there's this whole world outside. Now she's not going to quit today because obviously she wants to graduate. And so, she has to still keep going there, but yet in her mind, she cannot be boxed in by that for the next few months. Right. So what advice do you have? I'm kind of thinking of her, but then I'm also thinking of our audience, because I think as women, we often feel boxed in to where we are because of the roles that we're playing, because of maybe the career that we're in, because of the people who are around us, just because of the things we've been thinking for so long. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to someone who's listening right now and feeling like, yeah, I kind of feel like that girl who's boxed inside that school and just has to shuffle from class to class and do the thing and isn't really finding joy in it? How do you, even in the midst of maybe where you are, how do you start getting free of that?
Again, taking a step back, and really asking yourself, what do I love? Like, what do I love? Like, what am I passionate about? What lights a fire underneath of me? What gives me, what's that topic that if, I'm out somewhere and someone starts talking about it, I have to get in on it. I got to get in on that conversation. It's so good, right? And you know what that is. Everybody knows what that topic is. Maybe it's kids. Maybe for me, it's health. Like, health and mindset, man. I'm like, oh, let's talk about it all day long. I got to get in on it, right? You know what that is for you, okay? There's something, you were given that passion for a reason. And it's recognizing that that passion is also going to flame so that you can acknowledge your purpose. Every single human is on this earth for a reason.
Love that.
Every single human. It doesn't matter. You might be sitting there listening going, I don't know no, you are. You're here for a reason. Just because you aren't aware of what that reason is, don't be hard on yourself. That's okay. You can find that purpose, okay? And then when you find that purpose, you then can create this vision of your future, of what you want it to look like. And then you can develop some goals that are going to reach up and grab that vision. And now the goals and the vision, that'll change as your awareness grows and as you grow. Okay. Hot tip, your purpose is to grow. Okay. So make sure that you understand that.
And we are never done, right? I think that's
we're never done. Okay.
Once I get to this place, and for women in this stage of life, it may be once I get to retirement, right? Then I can but what's going to happen if you just kind of let go of all the goals and growth? Right. You're going to just kind of
basic universal laws. We as humans, we either create or we disintegrate. Okay. So everybody right now, we're programmed to just like get to 65 and retire. And then I'm like, yeah, but then you have actually our bodies are designed to live to like 130. Okay. But we're just like, woo, 90, right? Again, that's a topic for another time, but it's just like, okay, so say you're 65, you have a solid 30 years left.
Right.
Oh, I'm just going to sit and I'm okay with not making as much money. And I'm okay. I'll just I've already, I've got my pension and I'll just go and live in Florida for this part of the year and live in this part and travel. And it's like, yeah, but is that what you want to do all the time? And what does that, because we're meant to serve. We think that work, we were meant to work and then retire. Work was made for us so that we could serve one another, so that we could show up on purpose. So my tip is find your purpose, create a vision for your life. Your vision and your goals are going to change, right? You're going to reach them, then you're going to set more goals. Then you'll reach those goals, you'll set more goals, but your purpose will never change. And once you figure out that purpose, it's like you've unlocked Pandora's box and you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
And then you can be creative in how you're going to live out that purpose, because there's not just one way to do it. And the way that you start off doing it may not be the forever way that you do it, right? As you start living that out, those other things are going to come to you. That's totally been my journey, right? When I stepped into network marketing as well 9 years ago, it was because I didn't want to go back into a classroom and feel closed in by those walls as a teacher, which is what I was trained to do. And, and it wasn't that I didn't like the teaching learning process and I didn't like students. I just felt like I was going to be contained, not only physically, but also in my mind. And so I'm like you, I always had said no, thank you to network marketing. I don't do those things, but I will buy your products because I think they're fantastic and I love to support my friends. And, if I think you've got something good, of course I'll share it. And so it wasn't until I really kind of started figuring out what's my purpose, right? And then it started with that network marketing. That was that first way to start living that out. But then it hasn't stopped there. In that growth process, it then became, it became, starting to do, women's stuff and teaching through women's ministries. And then it became, I found I was doing a lot of coaching. And so then that turned into a full-time coaching. And, it's just one thing after, and even now, I have all these ideas and things swirling in my mind of what this looks like, right? To live out this purpose once you have that.
Yep.
And you don't have to know it all, right,
No.
at the very beginning, which I think is sometimes maybe what keeps us stuck in that same place. That's that need for safety and comfort of like, I don't know what it's going to look like. Maybe I can see the first step outside the box, but maybe I can't even see the first step. And that's really scary.
Yeah. But you're not meant to. Like, we think the goal is when we've climbed to the top of the company, or we've got the $1 million, or we've got the relationship, or we live in this, I look like a Greek goddess, whatever. We think that that's the goal. The goal is actually the person that you become in the process.
Yes.
Right? Like when you are 98 years old and you're looking back on your life and you're going, man, I had fun. I built some amazing relationships. I had an impact, and I feel really good. Like I have zero regrets, zero, right? I showed up the way I wanted to show up through it all. And I trust that everything happens when it's meant to happen, right? I could sit there and go, oh my God, I can't believe I like wasted 15 years doing, no,
Right.
I was meant to have all those experiences, right? In fact, the very last year, there was like a ton of stuff that happened. I called it the big storm. Okay. It was all this stuff that happened all at the same time. But I know now, I'm like, had that not happened, I wouldn't have been taking a big look at my life. Right. And all these things are happening just when I heard something just like this. And it made me take a step back and go, what am I doing with my life? Exactly. Like, really? Because I got one, and it's not here to make a paycheck. Right.
I love this stage of life because I feel like around 40-ish, for some people, it happens in their 30s. I mean, I talked to a girl yesterday in her 20s that I think is already asking these questions. But I think for a lot of us, because we're, like you said, programmed, right? We have these habits. It usually isn't until we reach something. So for a lot of women, it's like when that nest is starting to empty, right? And their purpose and identity has been so tied to either being a mom, whether that's full-time or balancing that with a career, or they've been in this career for, 20 some years, and they're kind of getting close to being done with that. And then we start asking those questions about what is my purpose, right? And what is it beyond this? Because this is what it feels like it's been, all along. And for so long, I was not paying attention to my passions. And that's really where I was struggling, that in that full-time mom stage, while I loved being with my kids, I was fading inside because I didn't have those passions. And I was like, and I made myself my own victim, where I said, when do I have time to think about what matters to me? When is there money left over about what I would want to invest in? When is there time or energy to focus on these other things? I just have to get everybody from point A to point B and do it all over again, right? And so it wasn't until I did the same thing of asking those questions and then starting to step out into some different things. And then it's like the floodgates of heaven open, right? Yeah.
Love it.
And what I love is being around women like you, right? And others who are doing this as well and who are pursuing that, because most people are not doing what you and I are doing, right? And they're in that, I'm stuck where I am and I'm just living the life that I've been given, and that this is just how it is. And so
even they'll hear you say that, and their paradigm, their habitual thinking will come in and say, no, I can be happy with what I have.
Sure.
Right? Because how many people were told growing up, like, why do you have to want more? Why can't you just be happy with what you have? And then they adopt it as their belief, and they're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm supposed to just be happy with what I have. Right. Yeah. So they're listening to you now going, I don't want to be like that. I'm just going to be happy with what I have. Like this, we justify these thoughts that come in. Your paradigm has an excuse for everything on why you're doing, because it wants to keep you safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're meant to grow. And there's no growth in safety.
Yeah. And what got you to where you are now, right? Those thoughts, those habits, those beliefs, all those things, good, bad, or indifferent, where you are right now is the consequence of the choices and beliefs and habits you've had up until now, right? But what I love is that gives us that moment. At any moment, we can say, you know what? I'm going to change that. This is where I want to go. And then we know that, like you said, you're going to become a different person, because to get different results in our life, we can't stay the same person. We can't think the same thoughts. We can't believe the same things. We can't do the same things. Otherwise, we would already be there. right? So then we start adopting those thoughts, those beliefs, those actions of that girl. I like to call her goal achieved Lissa, right? So goal achieved Lissa, how does she believe? What does she think? How does she act? And then start doing that now, right? Because that's the only way that
you want different results tomorrow. You have to start thinking different results today, or different thoughts today, right? Yes. Today's results, yesterday's thoughts.
Exactly.
Tomorrow's results, right? But what we do is we think from our current results. We go, oh, well, right now I have, 60K in the, I make 60K a year and I have my whatever. I desire 200K a year to live the life that I want to live, but this is the way I am. So then your current thinking sets up your vibration, because that's all, we're just meat sticks vibrating, right? That's what we are, a bunch of molecules. So it sets up our vibration, which puts us into action, which gets us the same results. And then we get frustrated because we're like, but I know to do this, but I'm actually doing this. Well, there's a gap between, that's right. There's a gap between what you know to do and what you're actually doing. You want to start getting different results. You got to back the truck up, right? Back it up and start thinking different thoughts, you want to earn 200K? Start thinking 200K thoughts, which will set up a 200K vibration, which will put you into 200K actions, which will get you the result of 200K. But it's like, you're not thinking about it's not enough. Yes. Action is the name of the game, right? But the actions come based on what you believe you can have. And that's a fact. So it's like, you want something different. You got to start now thinking different thoughts.
I love that. And one of the things you taught me was this phrase, up until yesterday, right? So up until yesterday, this is how I thought, or this is what I did, or this is what I believed, right? So we're acknowledging that, we're calling it out, right? So I think recognizing it, it's not hidden anymore. It's like, I see you, like you can't keep hiding in the corners or whatever, right? But now and then, deciding that we are going to think differently and that we are going to change what it has been up until now. It's been super helpful. Well, we could talk all day about this. You have so much wisdom and just inspiration and things. As I know you're still on this journey. We're always on this journey to growing, right? So tell me, like, if someone's listening and they're like, wow, yeah, maybe I want to learn a little bit more about what Delynn's doing, about kind of what she's talking about. How do they get in touch with you? What's going on that, you can do to serve others? Just spotlight.
Super simple ways, whatever social media you're on, I'm on too. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the spots. Okay. So add me at Delynn Miller. And I have a Facebook group that we specifically talk about stuff like this. It's called High Vibe Life with Delynn. I'm going to link it up. We can link it up in my link tree. And book a call. I would love to talk to you about this, about what you're feeling, about your goals, help you get some clarity. And I offer free strategy calls all the time.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for being generous. We'll put that link in the comments so that if you're listening and you're like me, that you're doing something else, you're driving, you're washing the dishes, you're taking your dog for a walk, excuse mine barking in the background, then, you can come back to that. And for a long time, I did not know how to dream, right? And I know one thing you've taught me is utilizing our imagination. And being able to see beyond where we are right now, because if we don't have a goal that we're going towards, then we're just kind of like treading water, kind of, I guess, where we are. So I'm going to put a link to a dream life planner, right? To just really inspire you to really start looking at the 7 areas we talk about: faith, family, friends, field of work, whether that's working for somebody else or whether it's owning your own thing or whether it's volunteering full-time or maybe even being a full-time mom or grandma, right? What work do you do in your day? Your finances, your fitness, and your fun. Because I think once we start really allowing our mind to get beyond just, this is where I am and this is what I have to do, and start really picturing what that could be like and what we want to be, have, and do, it just opens up so many possibilities to get us out of where we are. So I'll link up to that, as well. So I'd love to end with this question. Of those 7 areas, I know we're always working on all of them because they all matter. Which of them would make the biggest difference for you in the next year to really making it a priority and really, working on and taking it to the next level?
I would have to say, for me, I'm really gravitating to fun. And I find I always gravitate to fun. But I think in the work that I do, and the work that everybody does, when you're focused on this work, it's like, am I working? Am I having family? Like it impacts every single aspect of your life, right? But I know, based on like everything that happens is happening in the world, circumstances, right? I always have to, I love to find creative ways to have just different kinds of fun. Just get out there, have fun with other people, create fun things to do by myself, right? Because when we're having fun, we're raising our vibration. And sometimes when you're focused on your goals or I've got little kids, right? I'm focused on my family and I'm focused on this and I feel like, you know, and I make sure I have my spiritual tune-ups and I make sure I'm doing this and everything else is in flow. It's like, oh yes, I'm going to intentionally insert, even though I think all these things are fun, which they are, I am having a lot of fun. I think I want to insert some intentional, just different kinds of fun.
Well, and when you're fun and you're relaxed, your mind is more open and flexible, right? And that's where that creativity is coming out again. So it totally fits. It's with everything I know about you. I'm not surprised that that's the one that you would pick. And for me, as a recovering, I don't have time for fun girl, I am working on making sure that that becomes a priority, right? Because all production is not good if you are not enjoying, right, life and what you're producing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the nuggets that you shared today. I trust if you're listening today, you've been inspired, that your mind has been, you know, you've had some little aha moments, and I would love to hear those. So please reach out. You can find me, Lissa Figgins, anywhere on social. Would love to hear what stood out to you. And I highly recommend grab a call with Delynn, because she just has a way about her that draws you in and draws things out of you so that you can really start working towards that life that you love. And until next time, you know, keep rethinking not only your priorities, but also your paradigm, right? Now that we know where awareness is raised, so we want to keep rethinking those things so that we can truly create a life that we love. So thank you, Delynn, so much for being with us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.